every Terminator game ever, reviewed and explored. The Terminator franchise has given us some of the most iconic characters and catchphrases in sci-fi history ever since Arnold Schwarzenegger first uttered "I'll be back" in 1984.
I'll be back.
While the films have cemented their place in pop culture lore, the Terminator games over the years have been more hit or miss. But that's exactly why it's so exciting to go back and explore them all in detail. Whether you're a die-hard fan eager to relive these classic cyborg shooters or a newbie looking to try out some retro Terminator action, strap in as we review and analyze every single Terminator video game ever made. From side-scrolling NES adventures to modern first-person shooters, we'll highlight the standout titles as well as the not-so-great ones. You'll get insight into the development history behind each game, see how they connect to events and characters in the movies, and find out which ones are still worth playing today. This comprehensive guide to the Terminator's spotty but spirited gaming legacy will fuel your nostalgia and get you pumped about the franchise's exciting future, both on-screen and on your console. The Terminator's back, and he won't stop until each game has been reviewed. Let's do this. The Terminator, 1991, DOS, released in 1991 by Bethesda Softworks, is an ambitious open-world game that predates the Grand Theft Auto series. Set in a sprawling recreation of Los Angeles, the game offers players the choice to play as either Kyle Reese or the Terminator, each with their own objectives and challenges. The game's open-world design is impressive for its time, featuring nearly 60 square miles of explorable terrain, including landmarks like Griffith Park and Dodger Stadium. The gameplay involves a mix of on-foot exploration and vehicular travel, with players needing to find weapons, equipment, and ultimately, Sarah Connor. The game's non-linear approach allows for a significant degree of freedom, letting players choose how to tackle their objectives. However, this freedom also leads to a lack of direction, which can be both a blessing and a curse, depending on the player's preference for structured gameplay. Graphically, the Terminator is a product of its time, with flat, monochrome polygons that make up the city's buildings and streets. The game's engine, while technically impressive, suffers from performance issues, including slow frame rates and graphical glitches. Despite these technical limitations, the game's ambitious design and open-world concept make it a noteworthy title in the history of video gaming.
I'll be back.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day, 1991. An arcade game released in 1991, stands as a landmark in the light gun shooter genre. Developed by Midway Manufacturing Company, the game is based on the iconic film and features photorealistic digitized graphics, including several actors reprising their roles from the movie. The game closely follows the film's plot, casting players as the T-800 Terminator cyborg, tasked with protecting John Connor from the T-1000 Terminator. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, 1991. Action video game developed by Dementia and published by Ocean Software, is a unique adaptation of the blockbuster film.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Released for various platforms including Amiga, Amstrad CPC, Atari ST, Commodore 64, DOS, and ZX Spectrum. The game is a sequel to the Terminator and features several gameplay styles such as driving, fighting, and puzzle solving. The game was well received for its graphics, gameplay variety, and sound, though some critics found the game average or disappointing, criticizing it for a lack of originality and its difficult gameplay. It follows the film's storyline, where two Terminator models, the T-800 and T-1000, are sent back from the future. The player largely takes on the role of the T-800, tasked with protecting John Connor, with Sarah Connor also playable in certain levels. The levels are based on prominent scenes from the film, including the T-1000's truck chase, Sarah's escape from a mental hospital, a sabotage of Cyberdyne Systems headquarters, and a final showdown in a steel mill. The game incorporates digitized images from the film to advance the story between levels. Each level features different gameplay styles, such as beat-em-up fighting between the Terminators or vertically scrolling driving sequences. The game's ZX Spectrum version has 7 levels, while the Amiga and Atari ST versions have 8, and the C64 version has 9. The ZX Spectrum version does not include the digitized film images due to memory constraints. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, 1991 NES, a game adaptation of the blockbuster film, surprisingly stands out as a decent offering in the realm of movie-based video games. Developed during the NES's twilight years, it managed to deliver a gameplay experience that is both simple and enjoyable, a feat considering it was produced by LJN, a company not known for stellar games. The gameplay is straightforward, offering button-mashing side-scrolling action. The controls are smooth and responsive, making the game accessible and easy to pick up. While it doesn't break new ground in terms of gameplay mechanics, it executes the standard side-scrolling platform formula in an entertaining way. The story follows the film's plot, but expands upon it, placing players in the role of the T-800 with the mission to destroy the T-1000 and rescue John Connor. This adherence to the film's narrative is a plus for fans of the franchise. Graphically, the game impresses despite the limitations of 8-bit graphics. The characters are well detailed, and the animation, particularly of the T-800, is noteworthy. The use of color and character detail stands out, showcasing what was possible with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System capabilities. The sound is adequate but not memorable, and the sound effects are typical of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System era. Functional, but not particularly exciting. In terms of replayability, the game's difficulty level might deter players from revisiting it, and the game tends to lose its appeal after the initial levels. The Terminator, 1992. Sega Genesis. Mega Drive, released in 1992, is an action-packed side-scrolling run-and-gun game that captures the essence of the iconic film. As Kyle Reese, a human resistance soldier, players embark on a mission to protect Sarah Connor from the relentless Terminator. The game begins in the apocalyptic future, before transitioning to 1984 Los Angeles, where players navigate through the streets and a police station, battling enemies and ultimately confronting the Terminator. The game's storyline closely follows the film, albeit stripped down to fit the game format. This adaptation allows players to immerse themselves in key moments from the movie, though certain dynamic scenes like car chases are notably absent. The game's graphics are commendable for the time, with stage designs that effectively convey the dark, dystopian atmosphere of the Terminator universe. Character and enemy designs are somewhat basic but functional, with Reese and the Terminator being the most recognizable. Musically, the game features a memorable soundtrack with distinct themes for each level, capturing the tension and urgency of the film's narrative. Sound effects, including explosions and gunshots, add to the immersive experience, though the game lacks voice sampling. Gameplay in the Terminator is straightforward yet engaging, with players navigating through levels, shooting down enemies, and reaching the end. The game's difficulty settings offer varying challenges, but the overall experience is somewhat linear and short, with only 4 levels. This brevity, combined with the game's straightforward nature, may limit its replayability. The Terminator 2029, 1992, DOS, developed and published by Bethesda Softworks, is a notable entry in the realm of PC DOS games, released in 1992, with a deluxe CD edition following in 1994. This edition included the original game, an expansion pack, and additional features like speech for mission briefings and an in-game soundtrack.
Information. We won't be able to decode the telemetry you have to recover. It will be useless.
The game is part of Bethesda's series of Terminator games for PC DOS, offering a unique take on the Terminator universe. Set in Los Angeles in the year 2029, players step into the role of Sergeant Aaron Wolf, a member of John Connor's Special Operations Group. The game revolves around the testing of a new combat assault armor, designed to destroy Terminators. This advanced cybernetic exoskeleton, known as the Ace Battle Armor, is a key element in the game, linking directly to the soldier's nervous system. The gameplay blends action-adventure and first-person shooter elements, offering an immersive experience in the Terminator universe. Players navigate through various missions, receiving objectives and technical information from characters like John Connor, Major Torres, and technician Rachel Turner. The game's narrative and setting provide a rich backdrop for the action, immersing players in the struggle against the machines. The Terminator 2029 stands out for its innovative approach to the franchise, focusing on the future war scenario rather than directly adapting the movies. The game's emphasis on character creation, mission briefings, and the use of advanced technology in combat makes it a distinctive and engaging title in the Terminator game series. Its blend of story, action, and strategy offers a compelling experience for fans of the franchise and PC gaming enthusiasts alike. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Chess Wars, 1993, DOS. Chess Wars, a unique spin on the classic game of chess, combines the strategic depth of chess with the iconic Terminator franchise. This DOS game, showcased on the Zirconi YouTube channel, offers a fresh take on the traditional chess experience by integrating elements from the Terminator universe into its gameplay. Set in the post-apocalyptic world of Terminator, the game features chess pieces modeled after characters and machines from the movies. Each piece is intricately designed, capturing the essence of the Terminator series. The game's visual presentation is a standout feature, with detailed graphics that bring the chess pieces to life in a way that's both creative and true to the source material. The gameplay of Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Chess Wars remains faithful to the rules of chess, making it accessible to both chess enthusiasts and fans of the Terminator series. The game adds an extra layer of excitement with its Terminator-themed animations and sound effects, enhancing the overall experience. While the game doesn't revolutionize the chess genre, it offers an enjoyable and thematic twist for players looking for something different. The combination of classic chess strategy with the Terminator aesthetic makes for an engaging and entertaining game. In conclusion, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Chess Wars is a commendable effort to blend a timeless board game with a popular movie franchise. Its unique theme, coupled with well-executed graphics and sound, makes it a noteworthy addition to the collection of any Terminator fan or chess player looking for a novel experience. The Terminator Rampage, 1993, is a first-person shooter game by Bethesda, part of their Terminator series. Despite its attempt to join the ranks of popular FPS games of the time, like Wolfenstein 3D, it falls short in many aspects. The game's premise involves a soldier sent back in time to destroy the metanode, a machine responsible for human extinction. However, due to a time travel error, the soldier faces a more formidable metanode than intended. The game features a few animated cutscenes, including an intro, a game over animation, and a final animation upon completion. These cutscenes, while okay, come across as somewhat cheesy. The gameplay is typical of a Wolfenstein clone, with level progression, enemy combat, and item searches. The levels are divided into episodes with thematic changes but lack extra story text or cutscenes between levels. Controls in the Terminator Rampage are awkward and non-customizable, with limited options for mouse or keyboard control. The game's design often leads to players getting lost in maze-like levels, turning gameplay into a tedious item hunt. Ammo is scarce, and the level's sprawling mazes exacerbate the difficulty in locating necessary items. Despite featuring a small auto map and varied level themes, the game is plagued by glitches, poor design choices, and bad hit detection. The frame rate is choppy, and the engine seems poorly optimized. While the graphics are a step up from Wolfenstein 3D and the sound effects are decent, these aspects can't redeem the overall experience. The Terminator Rampage is a game that tests patience more than it entertains, with over 30 levels leading to a boss fight that doesn't compensate for the game's tediousness and bugs. It's a game that, despite its attempts, fails to stand alongside its contemporaries in the FPS genre. Robocop vs. the Terminator, 1993. Robocop vs. the Terminator, released on the Mega Drive in 1993, is a platform shooter game that merges two iconic sci-fi universes. The game's narrative revolves around Robocop inadvertently aiding Skynet's rise to power, leading to a future where he must combat the Terminator threat and save humanity. The gameplay spans two timelines, present-day Detroit and a dystopian future dominated by Skynet. Initially, players navigate through levels battling thugs and drones while rescuing hostages, reminiscent of the game Alien 3, but with a significantly higher level of violence. The game's second half transports Robocop to the future, pitting him against tougher Terminator foes. The game's arsenal is diverse, ranging from Robocop's classic sidearm to futuristic weapons like pulse rifles and laser guns. The visual presentation of Robocop vs. the Terminator is a standout feature, with smooth animations, detailed environments, and gory enemy deaths. The sound design complements the visuals, featuring sampled screams, Robocop's voice, and a robust soundtrack. Despite some challenging moments due to controlling a heavy cyborg, the game remains a solid platform shooter. It's particularly appealing to fans of the Robocop and Terminator franchises. The Mega Drive version is recommended for its superior graphics and gameplay compared to the Super Nintendo Entertainment System version, though the latter offers comic book-style scenes for better story exposition. Overall, Robocop vs. the Terminator is a worthwhile play for its engaging platform shooting experience and the thrilling crossover of two legendary cyborgs. The Terminator Future Shock, released in 1995 by Bethesda Softworks, marked a significant milestone in the evolution of first-person shooters. Powered by the X engine, it boasted an almost entirely 3D environment, setting a new standard for graphical immersion. The game's expansive, interactive world, set in the dystopian future of the Terminator movies, offered players a rich post-apocalyptic landscape to explore. Its gameplay was revolutionary, being one of the first to utilize mouse control for player view, a feature now ubiquitous in FPS games. Graphically, the Terminator Future Shock was ahead of its time, with an impressive array of 3D objects and environments, though limited by the resolution standards of the era. The sound design, while not groundbreaking, effectively complemented the game's atmosphere, with high-quality effects and an ambient score. The gameplay was the game's standout feature, offering large levels filled with both treasures and dangers, and the inclusion of vehicles added a dynamic layer to the experience. Overall, the Terminator Future Shock is remembered as a classic, overshadowed by the release of Quake, but deserving of praise for its innovative contributions to the genre. It was a challenging and enjoyable experience, a testament to the creative vision of its developers, and a significant chapter in the history of video gaming.
Coming down!
Skynet, 1996, DOS game developed by Bethesda Softworks, is a first-person shooter that immerses players in the Terminator universe. The game, a standalone expansion pack to the previous Terminator game, Future Shock, released in 1995, offers a unique gaming experience that was innovative for its time. Set in the post-apocalyptic world of the Terminator movies, Skynet places players in the role of a new member of the Resistance, tasked with gathering intel on the behavior of the planet, dominating cybernetic organisms. The game's narrative is delivered through short FMVs, a popular feature in early CD-ROM games, and includes a cast of characters trying their hardest, including a cameo by Michael Bihn's Kyle Reese. Skynet's gameplay is notable for its lack of tutorials, dropping players straight into the action with a handful of weapons, including a lead pipe, machine gun, shotgun, and laser rifle. The laser rifle, in particular, stands out for its unique zoom-in feature, which provides an enlarged green monochromatic view of the target area, adding to the game's 80s sci-fi appeal. The game's graphics and sound design effectively capture the Terminator aesthetic, with the post-apocalyptic setting and weaponry contributing to the immersive experience. Skynet's innovative use of a secondary screen for the laser rifle's zoom function was ahead of its time, predating the now standard practice of aiming down sights in first-person shooters. The Terminator Dawn of Fate, 2002, PlayStation 2, Xbox. Developed by Paradigm Entertainment, is a game that attempts to capture the essence of the Terminator franchise, but falls short in execution. Set in the Terminator universe, the game's narrative follows the mission to get Kyle Reese to the Time Displacer, allowing John Connor's birth. The atmosphere is very much in line with the Terminator theme, adding to the game's appeal. Gameplay-wise, Dawn of Fate is a straightforward action game, allowing players to control 3 different characters across 10 large levels. However, the characters feel similar, with only different skins setting them apart. The gameplay involves running from area to area, flipping switches, setting explosives, or engaging in repetitive combat. This simplicity and repetitiveness, coupled with a lack of variety in enemy elimination and limited ammunition, detract from the overall experience. Graphically, the game impresses with movie-quality CG scenes and a well-captured post-apocalyptic atmosphere.
Good work, Reese. We've moved the SciTech crew down the canyon. Once they hit the entrance, they'll hack security and we'll flood in troops.
The special effects and lighting are noteworthy, adding to the game's visual appeal. However, the character models and animations are less impressive, and the fixed camera angles hinder the gameplay, making combat challenging and less enjoyable. The sound design is a strong point, featuring the official movie soundtrack and high-quality sound effects that enhance the immersive experience.
Looks like it's blocked, Reese.
The voice acting is adequate but not exceptional. The Terminator Dawn of Fate has its moments with its atmospheric setting and sound design, but is let down by its gameplay mechanics and camera issues. It's a game that might appeal to fans of the franchise for its thematic elements but struggles to stand out in the action game genre.
Get down.
Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, 2003, PlayStation 2, Xbox, Nintendo GameCube. Developed by Black Ops Entertainment, is a game that unfortunately falls short of its cinematic counterpart's success. The game attempts to blend first-person shooter elements with hand-to-hand combat, but it struggles with execution, resulting in a disjointed and unsatisfying experience. The game follows the movie's storyline, casting players as the T-850 Terminator, tasked with protecting John Connor from the advanced TX model. While this premise is promising, the gameplay fails to deliver an engaging experience. The first-person shooter segments are lackluster, with unimpressive weapon effects and a lack of impact when shooting enemies. The hand-to-hand combat, a significant part of the game, is equally underwhelming, featuring repetitive and simplistic mechanics. Graphically, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines is a mixed bag. The character models, particularly Arnold Schwarzenegger's, are well rendered, but the environments and enemy designs are bland and uninspired. The game also includes footage from the movie, but these segments clash with the in-game graphics, disrupting the overall cohesion.
Hey, let me out!
The sound design is one of the game's few redeeming qualities, with a decent soundtrack and sound effects that capture the essence of the Terminator franchise. However, this is not enough to compensate for the game's other shortcomings. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines is a disappointing adaptation of the film. Its lackluster gameplay, mediocre graphics, and disjointed integration of movie footage make it a forgettable experience for both Terminator fans and gamers alike. The game's ambition to combine different gameplay styles is commendable, but its failure to execute them effectively ultimately undermines its potential. Terminator 3, The Redemption, 2004, PlayStation 2, Xbox, Nintendo GameCube, is a significant improvement over its predecessor, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Developed by Paradigm Entertainment, the game offers a blend of third-person shooting, rail shooting, and driving gameplay, spread across its 14 missions. The game's narrative follows the plot of the Terminator 3 film, but takes some creative liberties to extend the story, adding new elements that fit well within the Terminator universe. The gameplay is diverse, switching between on-foot combat in a post-apocalyptic war zone, commandeering vehicles, and rail shooting segments. The variety in gameplay styles keeps the experience fresh and engaging. Controlling the T-800 Terminator, players navigate through levels, battling T-900s and other machines. The third-person action, while the least enjoyable of the three gameplay types, is still adequately executed. The combat is straightforward, with basic hand-to-hand attacks and a few gun types. The rail shooting missions are more dynamic, often placing players in high-speed scenarios where they must shoot attacking vehicles or enemy Terminators. These missions sometimes offer secondary weapons like grenade or rocket launchers, adding impact to the combat. Driving missions vary greatly, from ramming SWAT vans in a hearse to evading the TX in high-speed chases. The driving mechanics are well implemented, providing a mix of shooting and maneuvering challenges. Graphically, Terminator 3, The Redemption is a step up from its predecessor, with better character models and environments. The sound design complements the action, with a fitting soundtrack and impactful sound effects.
What the hell is that thing?
It is a Terminator, Model TX, designed for extreme combat.
In conclusion, Terminator 3, The Redemption is a solid action game that successfully captures the essence of the Terminator franchise. Its blend of varied gameplay styles, improved graphics, and adherence to the film's narrative makes it a redeeming and enjoyable experience for fans of the series.
Game over.
Terminator Mobile, Java. Games, only the good ones. In this section, we will review and discusses 3 Terminator games available for Java platforms: Terminator Salvation, Terminator Revenge, and Terminator. Terminator Salvation is praised as an exceptional game, particularly for a Java platform. It's a 3D linear shooter where players engage in wave-based combat, progressing through levels by eliminating enemies. The game allows players to operate turrets and vehicles like tanks and motorcycles, offering a dynamic combat experience. The ability to move in a 3D space and take cover adds strategic depth to the gameplay. With 3 difficulty settings, the game feels like a masterpiece and a must-play for its uniqueness on a mobile platform. The second game is Terminator Revenge, which is a basic platformer but is noted for being fun and engaging. The gunning animations and controls are highlighted as enjoyable aspects, contributing to its appeal despite its repetitive nature. The game's simplicity is offset by hidden quirks that elevate the overall experience. Now the third game is Terminator, which is compared to Metal Slug, offering a similar style of gameplay with lots of explosions and action. While the animations and controls are not as polished as the other 2 games, we suggest that if players can overlook these flaws, they will find an enjoyable game. Terminator Salvation, 2009. PS3, Xbox 360, and Windows. Released in 2009 alongside the movie, is a game that unfortunately falls short of expectations. Developed in-house by Halcyon, the company that produced the movie, the game was an attempt by a team with limited game development experience. This decision is evident in the game's overall quality, which received poor reviews upon release. The game's graphics were criticized for being bland and unimpressive, especially considering the capabilities of the PS3 and Xbox 360 during their prime. The controls were also a point of contention, described as bad and contributing to a frustrating gameplay experience. The storyline, while having potential, was not well developed, leaving much to be desired in terms of narrative depth and engagement. Despite being a Terminator game, which could have been its saving grace for fans of the franchise, the game fails to deliver a satisfying experience. This sentiment underscores the game's failure to live up to expectations, both as a standalone video game and as an extension of the Terminator franchise. Terminator Salvation for the Xbox 360 is described as a disappointing venture, lacking in both technical quality and creative storytelling. It stands as an example of a movie tie-in game that falls short of capturing the essence of its source material, resulting in a forgettable and unsatisfying gaming experience.
Get over here.
Terminator DLC in Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11's Terminator DLC is a thrilling addition to an already robust fighting game roster. This DLC brings the iconic Terminator to life in the Mortal Kombat universe, delivering a gameplay experience that's as intense as it is satisfying. The Terminator character is a powerhouse in the game, capable of dealing massive damage that places him among the top tier of Mortal Kombat 11's fighters. His ability to execute high-damage combos with relative ease makes him a formidable opponent. For players who relish the thrill of executing devastating attacks without getting bogged down by complex inputs, the Terminator is a perfect choice. However, this raw power is balanced by some notable weaknesses. The Terminator's slower speed and lack of far-reaching mid-attacks mean that he can be outmaneuvered by more agile characters. His main combo strings are also vulnerable to faster attacks, adding a layer of strategic depth to playing as or against him. This balance ensures that while the Terminator is a force to be reckoned with, he's not overpowered. The DLC shines in its attention to detail, capturing the essence of the Terminator character. From the visual design to the gameplay mechanics, everything about the Terminator feels authentic and true to the character's legacy. The addition of unique moves like the Running Man and the use of grenades in the third variation adds further depth, allowing players to experiment with different playstyles.
Watch out! More of them up here!
Terminator Resistance 2019. Windows, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Terminator Resistance is a game that, at first glance, seems to promise an intense and immersive first-person shooter experience set in the iconic Terminator universe. However, beneath its surface, the game reveals itself to be a mixed bag, offering both intriguing elements and notable shortcomings. Set in the year 2028 in Los Angeles, The game places you in the role of Jacob Rivers, a soldier in John Connor's Resistance army. The narrative aims to bridge the gap leading up to the events of the original Terminator films, offering a potential treasure trove for fans of the franchise. However, the game's plot is hampered by lackluster dialogue and stiff voice acting, which detract from the overall storytelling experience.
What's up, dude?
I'm Private Rivers. You got something for me?
The game's shooting mechanics are initially lackluster and don't improve much, with a notable delay in the appearance of actual Terminators. When they do appear, they lack the expected menacing presence, making them easy to defeat and diminishing the challenge. The game frequently favors the player with abundant explosive barrels and a thermal vision mode that reduces suspense and difficulty. Overall, while attempting to capture the Terminator essence, Terminator Resistance falls short in delivering a consistently engaging experience. Its weak narrative, repetitive gameplay, and unchallenging combat leave it as a missed opportunity for a compelling Terminator game. Terminator Dark Fate Defiance 2024 Windows. Slitherine Limited has announced a delay in the release of Terminator Dark Fate Defiance, originally scheduled for December 7th, now postponed to February 21st, 2024, to enhance game quality and address community feedback. The additional time will be used for refining gameplay, improving server infrastructure, and resolving performance issues. The company appreciates the community's patience and invites players to stay updated through their Discord channel as they work towards delivering an exceptional gaming experience. The game, as previewed, showcases an impressive blend of strategy and action, set in the grim, post-apocalyptic world of the Terminator universe. The gameplay footage reveals an early campaign mission, displaying a richly detailed and atmospheric battlefield that captures the essence of the franchise. The visuals, initially perceived as bleak and gray, effectively convey the desolate and war-torn environment, immersing players in the struggle for survival against Skynet's forces. What stands out in Terminator Dark Fate Defiance is its potential to offer a deep and engaging RTS experience. The game seems to draw inspiration from classics like World in Conflict, while also incorporating elements from modern strategy games. This combination promises a gameplay experience that is both nostalgic and innovative, appealing to fans of the genre and the Terminator series alike. That's it for this episode, friends. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. We have amazing videos coming out every day. See you later, awesome people.
Get over here.